This is another Friday and another craft slash writing book review. And today we talk about 3 out of 5 of Greg Martelle's Become Successful in the Author series. And you can see the books right here. I'm not going to run, the Chris Fox routine where I did a book every week, and you're probably sick and tired of talking about this guy on the lower left corner of my Kindle app for PC. I'll do all 3 books together. We have Become Successful in the Author, Pricing Strategies 2020, and Release Strategies. And he also have 2 more books in the series. He has a book about collaborations because he's doing a lot of collaborations in his writing and write compelling fiction. Craig Martelle is one of the people who is running the 20 books to 50k marketing for self-publishing authors group on Facebook. If you're interested in the publishing your novel, or even if you're a traditional published or hybrid published author and want to listen to some interesting marketing ideas, this is a great group to be in. I'll leave a link in the description. And he said that he wrote the first book, Become Successful in the Author, because he was asked to write it. I didn't get the collaboration stuff because I don't do collaborations, and his write compelling fiction book, have read none of his fiction, so I think he follows the James Patterson model, meaning he's writing a lot of books with many collaborators, and he's publishing many books a year to keep his income stream profitable. Now, I've said this before about these types of books, that a lot of the stuff you'll read here are also freely available on the internet. And there is this rule about knowledge and awareness of knowledge, because there are things you are aware that you know them, and things you're not aware you know them, but when the need arises, your knowledge kicks in. Then you have some things that you're aware you don't know, so you'll have to search for them when the time comes and you need them. And all those 3 categories are great. They're okay. But there is this other state where you're not aware, you don't know something, and this is always dangerous because it can leave you vulnerable, or you'll take a big L because of it. So books like Become Successful in the Author is where it really comes together, because this book is 101 on how to start a self-publishing business. You go step by step. I mean, let me get the content, and the contents are chapter 1, chapter 2. So the idea is that it's a top-level, step-by-step guide on how to start and maintain a healthy publishing business. It's a bit of a chunky book, I think. I mean, chapter 1 is about writing your book, telling your story, and he's adamant that the basic stuff you need to do is tell a good story in order to sell your book. That's something you'll hear a lot in the self-publishing world. It's a mantra: write a good story. Then chapter 2 is creating your brand, and his Craig Martelle's brand is the blue-collar author. He used to be a Marine, and then he became a lawyer and a business consultant. And there are some marketing stuff here. Then chapter 3 is the business side of being an author. So expenses, tracking data, even he goes into SWOT analysis, which is some of the deeper business stuff, something you learn in an MBA or business management course. Sphere of control, sphere of influence. It's some interesting stuff, and even managing taxes for you US people. Copyright, it's some interesting stuff from a lawyer. Then chapter 4 is publishing on Amazon, what you should do in order to publish, and he has a book on launches, on releases, which is completely different. We'll get through that. We go through the chapters together and see the contents. Consider it as a bonus. Chapter 5 is about building a following, building fans, and advertising, and getting more readers. And there's even some stuff about trolls. I mean, you need to know about trolls, how to deal with trolls. Then chapter 6 is about writing a series or taking the next step, because nothing sells your previous book like your next book. That's another motto from Craig Martelle. Chapter 7 is about marketing and return on investment, margin, and some odd stuff. You go through that in the Chris Fox book, Ads for People Who Hate Ads. This chapter has quite a lot of maths and spreadsheets and all this kind of amazing stuff. And you know what's the deal with those military men who became business consultants? They know the spreadsheets. And chapter 8 is some random stuff like how Amazon works and blah blah blah. And then there is another interesting, the synonyms for said, yell, and move, which, yeah, it's kind of a gold, really. I got the book for $1, and I think this appendix alone is worth my money. I'm not sure about the price at the moment, but during the early quarantine days, it was available for $1. Then there's some stuff on planning and conference, because he's also planning the 20 books to 50k conference, and there are a lot of videos from those conferences on YouTube. Now let's go to release strategies and see what is it all about. Let's get the table of contents, and of course, oh yeah, here the chapters is there is a way to get the chapters. Chapter 1 is about getting ready, write the book and prep it and publish it. Chapter 2 is about new authors, your debut, and here we deal with the concept of intentionality, meaning that all your actions you will take, it's based on the theory of constraints, meaning that every action you make is intentional. You know what you're doing, and you're doing this on purpose, taking into account the situation, the constraints you have. I think that's some business stuff. Personality, engagement, organizing, and stockpiling. Yes, this is business consulting stuff, and he says determination of intentionality, blah blah blah, business consulting words that sound important but mean nothing. Yes, that's why I was not understanding what it was all about. Chapter 4 is about release timing, how to schedule your release and your different options, what to do with serials and short books and short stories. Chapter 6 is again about advertising and marketing and hints about it. And you see, it's about cover pricing, advertising, you know, the whole deal. You've seen this in all those books again and again. Number 7 is some checklist. If you want to publish, you get some checklist you have to follow, and then you get an epilogue, some final thoughts. And acronyms, of course, which is always important. And finally, publishing strategies. Chapter 1 is setting yourself up for success. What's the potential? Determination of value based on work put in the book. Terms definition, advertising, marketing. I'm not sure. So, yeah, it's about the prices. Really, this book is about explaining you the different prices available for Amazon and the different tiers and how they work. And basically it's stuff you can search on the internet or even the Amazon FAQ, but of course this is filtered through the experience of somebody who has published a fuck ton of books. Yeah, I mean, you get some insight. I got a trick I've never seen before in this book, so it was worth it. And let me tell you something about all those 3 books. The information contained here is really good. It's solid. It's from a guy who knows what he's talking about. He knows his business, and he is self-publishing business. It's sometimes it's top level. It doesn't get too deep, but there are always suggestions on where to look for more. And I think that's the norm from these indie books that are really slim and very affordable. However, and I have to stress that as a warning, and I know it comes a bit later in the review, so if you hear the first 3 or 4 minutes and say, oh, okay, don't get it, you miss out on this warning. But what can I say? What's the whole video? The writing style of these books is it's an acquired taste, because Craig Martelle uses a very informal and oral way of writing. You saw this intentionality bit he did, and I have to say he has a very strong voice. I mean, if you watch any of his live streams for from the 20 books to 50k YouTube channel, because he's often doing live streams with the other organizer of this group, Michael Anderle of the Gotharian Gambit fame. You'll hear his voice. He has this very interesting voice. He has a very strong voice, and after reading these books, I really want to read some of his fiction because it can be interesting. I mean, he mentions the concept of intentionality quite a lot, even though if it's blah 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 marketing speech, but everything he writes in this book is intentional and it's committed to the paper with extreme intention, and there is also a lot of passion. But at times, the writing can come off as a bit of rambly. There is some very solid information, but also there's a lot of anecdotal information, and to Craig Martelle's credit, he never says that I have the numbers and he guesstimates something. No, he says that's what I have seen, I can't prove it. He's transparent about it, but still there are some graphs here, there are some very solid information, but there's also a lot of anecdotes, especially in the release strategies and the pricing strategies books. As it gets deeper into some subjects, it gets more anecdotal, which is maybe something you're not interested in listening to it. And you know what? The writing takes some getting used to. It wasn't my cup of tea, and I've seen some comments on Goodreads or Amazon, I'm not sure, that state the same thing, that they didn't like the writing voice. So better download the samples and see if you like the writing style, because it can come off as very intense. And it's a non-fiction book, and intensity is not something you'd expect in books like that. But yeah, overall I think they're solid guides. If the price is right, they're worth a read. I didn't love them as much as I love the Chris Fox books, but it comes down to the writing voice and the attitude, and this one didn't gel with me. This happens, you know. That was my review for 3 out of 5 of Craig Martelle's Successful Indie Authors series. If you've read these books or if you're interested in them, leave a comment below, press the like button, and yes, I'll keep doing those indie books, these craft books Fridays, maybe not every week, but as always, thank you for watching, have fun and have a nice weekend.